Hello, Douglas Long and Sunny Navratnam again. This time I'm going to ask Douglas to share a little bit about a very important question. Why would we want to shift our brain's loci of control from the red zone to the blue zone? Why would we, Douglas?
I guess the simple answer is because we want to be everything that we could be.
Excellent.
Do we stop at this point, or do you feel I should give a bit more?
No, I think we should give a bit more, because I think most of us have that deep yearning, I know there's something more. I know this is not what I really want in my life. And it doesn't matter whether you are a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation earning millions of dollars. I've had that conversation with him, and there is a deep yearning. I get that. But I think it would be good to just look at it, and we live in a world where we need to meet our needs and wants, and that's a primary thing. And sometimes it's good to explore that a little bit deeper and seeing why this blue zone, red zone becomes very critical, I think, for human happiness.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think it's also because it's the only way that you can continuously have growth. Now, we know that physical growth stops by the time we're in our early 20s, and so the only growth that is left to us after that is mental growth, emotional growth, the growth that takes place in the brain that enables us to become more and more what we want to be and what we see as being success. The trouble is that for lots and lots of people, everything about success is equated with just money and wealth and position.
Yes.
And so you find a tremendous number of people who will have all the trappings of success around them, and on the surface you look at them and say, boy, isn't that a nice car? Isn't that a lovely home? Hasn't he got a great position? Isn't she doing well over here? And yet when you sit down and talk with these people, you start to find, well, perhaps things aren't quite as rosy as they may seem, because perhaps they're not relating quite so well with their partner. Perhaps they're not relating quite so well with their children. Perhaps they're not relating quite so well with their neighbours and a societal point of view. And one of the things that I think we've all become aware of over the last probably 20 to 30 years is that lots of people who have got all these trappings of success about them suddenly say, just a minute, there's a bit more to this. And so you see people moving from high-flying corporate positions, high-flying political positions, high-flying positions where there's money and wealth and prestige and everything else, and going and doing something totally different because they're starting to say, well, there is a bit more than what I've been doing and what I've been working on. And as long as we stay in the red zone, we will be caught up in the traditional trappings. We won't be able to fully harness those other energies that enable us to really sit back and say, well, just a minute, is this all there is? Or is there just a little bit more to life than making money and having power? What would it be like if I did have a good relationship with my partner? What would it be like if I had a really good relationship with my children? What would our neighbourhood be like if we had a really good relationship amongst the neighbours? And accessing the blue zone enables us to answer those questions.
I so get that. And in a funny way, you could also say that, when you're stuck in your red zone, one of the things you see is people working really hard, stressed and anxious. And I have a great friend. He's the managing director of a top company, and he earns millions of dollars and lives in this absolutely beautiful home. Has got Ferraris and BMWs parked in his garage and travels all over the place. But the poor guy is so anxious and so stressed on a day-to-day basis, and he keeps saying, how are you so calm? And I said, well, you have to step out of that zone that you're operating in and step into a different zone. And the funny thing for all of us is that the blue zone it doesn't mean that you are never going to be wealthy and you don't have money and you don't have that. I don't think it works that way. It works is that you just set out on a journey of life that is very different. It's more about living whatever it is you dream and your purpose. It seems to focus things that way.
Yeah, and it's instead of focusing on fear, instead of focusing on threat, real or perceived threat, it's focusing on potential.
Yes.
It's seeing a wider range of options. So I'm saying, I can actually have money and prestige and high running positions, and I can have a good relationship with my partner, and I can have a good relationship with my kids,
Yes.
and I can have a good relationship in my community.
Yes.
It's a having your cake and eating it too potential.
Yeah, absolutely. It is that having that purpose and meaning and having the joy. You're waking up in the morning and saying, oh, it's Monday morning, it's time to go to work. I'm really enjoying this. It's a big difference, I guess, in the quality of life, isn't it?
Yeah, but by the same token, it doesn't mean to say that because you operate out of the blue zone, because you have a blue zone locus control, it doesn't mean to say you're going to be wealthy and have power and prestige and everything else.
Because that becomes a choice.
That's right.
It becomes a choice. There's others I know. Another good friend who left the company that he was working with. He was the CEO, again earning multi-million dollars. Turned his big property that he had up in the city, change it around to actually make it into almost like a nursery for disabled children.
Okay.
And spending his life completely happy and joyous in there. Doesn't have the big cars anymore. He gave that up. Doesn't want it. He still has a property, but it's filled with all his kids running around. It doesn't look as pristine as it used to be. But man, that man is happy.
Yep.
You walk into the house, you can be greeted with this massive bear hug and this joy in that fellow, and his wife and his children, they're all amazing. They're all this, it's just a happy home to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, we all do it differently.
Yep.
So that's a quick introduction as to why it must be important for you to have a look at switching that loci of control from the red zone to the blue zone. So please comment. If you have any thoughts, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening. We look forward to talking to you soon.